Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the Live with Heidi and Heather show.
I am Heidi, Esther, joyful purpose mentor and author and mama and all that stuff.
And I am Heather Kokx, happiness expert and today and every day Enneagram enthusiast.
Woohoo.
Yes.
And we are here to pump you up with Enneagram
stories
knowledge. Yeah.
with Enneagram knowledge. Yes, specifically. And along with that will come true stories, lessons, and tools to get you to more joy and freedom, which is the Enneagram is all about.
Oh, amen to that. Come
Mhm.
for the combo and stay for the ridiculously cute dog cameos, which I don't have today because my daughter's home and watching my dogs. Yay! I don't have to do 8 things at once, only 7 things at once today.
Excellent. Excellent. All
Oh,
right. Well, let's go ahead and get the show started.
let's
Yeah.
get the party
We've
started.
we've got a
All right.
lot to do today.
Okay. So
So
first,
go.
all right. So first, I'm going to talk through. I'm having a series of discussions, and Heather was willing to, bring it to the show about through the looking glass. So the through the looking glass discussions are a series of discussions about different ways that you can look at yourself and, uncover different pieces of your personality, the way you do things, why you do things, so that you can grow and know yourself more badass. And so I'm like,
Yes.
what a better tool than Enneagram? And I've been just delighted and inspired in my life in so many ways since getting to know Heather and the Enneagram.
Thanks.
And oh, you're welcome. And so I'm just delighted to share a discussion, and we have even more awesomeness today. We have 4 special guests. So we're going to be hardcore Brady-Bunch style here, supporting each other and learning about what is the Enneagram for all different. Some people know their numbers and some people don't. So it's kind of just going to be like this curious little, we're going to just jump down the rabbit hole of the Enneagram and see what we can find out today.
Yes.
So Heather is going to start us out with an overview. We're going to meet some absolutely fabulous ladies and talk all Enneagram. And then you are going to get tools and links if you want to further your Enneagram knowledge from an Enneagram class that Heather has, as well as a one-on-one coaching little session, a little 30-minute session. So, all right, Heather, let's get started. Take us into the Enneagram. I can tell you there's so many different ways to rhyme the Enneagram that are also confusing, because the Enneagram, like, who came up with that name? And because you think of like all sorts of other Engrams, you're like, what is that? So talk to me, Heather.
Oh gosh, I wasn't expecting you to make me explain why it's called
You don't
Enneagram.
you don't have to do that. Just like, what is the Enneagram? Like
the
overview of what is it, and
the
the
name
different types.
comes from and we're not going to show this here, but there's actually like a graphic design of 9 numbers with the number 9 on top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they all connect with lines and it creates a geometrical design.
Ooh,
All right. So
that's
that's the fancy
cool.
part. And the lines are actually important, but we're not going to get into that just yet. So what the Enneagram is it's 9 personality types. It's a typing system. But what makes it different from all the other personality typing systems out there is that it just doesn't say you're introverted and you like pickles, or whatever the rest of them say. But this
You
one
only like
actually,
speaking to trees.
that's
Okay.
right. You would
Okay.
rather just live with trees. And so the reason that I'm going to close my email out here, that it's so special, is that it is a living, breathing system that once you figure out your Enneagram number, you know what your driving motivation is in life. That is kind of the foundation for all the decisions you make. And then once
I
you
love
know
that.
that, you can then start observing yourself and making changes. So a lot of people complain, like, I don't want to be put in a box. I don't want to be labeled. The thing is you already are labeled. You're already in that box. And once you learn your Enneagram number, you can start working and
It's a good
growing.
box though. It's a box that you are. It's like you created it. You're just realizing what it is, that
Right.
Enneagram
You're
number.
realizing what it is,
Yeah.
but then you can start to go outside of that box and become who
Ooh.
you fully are.
Mm. You become kind of like healthier. Like I would say, like in my
Yes.
journey, I've become like I've always been my Enneagram number, but I'm just in like a healthy version of it now. Now
Right.
I understand why I have like when I fall down and I have meltdowns or like I get spicy.
Right.
Now I know why. Like I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
that's because in my two blah blah
So,
blah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that motivation that you have doesn't limit you in your life anymore. Because the
Mhm.
idea is that when you were young, life was much more simple. And you developed this motivation to help keep yourself safe and feel loved. But when you got older, say the 20s specifically, those little rules that you created for yourself, they don't work anymore.
Mm.
Right. So, like,
Mhm.
we'll just start with the Enneagram one, the one, which is called the perfectionist. And they're rational and idealistic. They're principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. And their whole motivation is they want to be good. It is like a knife in their chest, in their heart to ever be bad, to do something wrong. So this is the best example because when you're a little kid, all the rules are defined. You know exactly what
Yeah,
you
like
need to do to
other people give you like this box, right? That's not
right.
Enneagram box. That's just like a box.
Mhm.
Like these are your rules and this, and you learn how
Yeah,
to cope, right? You learn how to cope with your life and succeed in your life.
right,
And
because
for
the
the
rules
one
are
if
very simple.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't hit people, you do your homework, you listen to your mom and dad and say what they say. It's very
You eat
simple,
your
but then
vegetables.
you eat your
Yeah.
vegetables, right, but then when you go out into the big world and you're like, "Oh, wait, all the rules are different out here." And so it doesn't work as well anymore. So that's what is going on with the Enneagram. And so what I'd like to do is um, go quickly through a little description of each number. And as I do that, just kind of listen, all of you listeners out there, and notice if anything kind of resonates with you, or if all of a sudden you're like, no, that might be your number. So, because a lot of times
Visceral
you're like, I
responses
don't,
are important.
yes. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to be that number. I'm that number. And that's okay, because it is who you are and all the numbers are beautiful. Okay. So we already did the one. The
Love that.
two, the helper is caring and interpersonal, demonstrative, generous, people pleasing, and possessive. Dun, dun, dun. There's good and bad. The three, the entrepreneur, is pragmatic and success oriented, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image conscious. The four, the romantic, is sensitive and withdrawn, expressive, dramatic, self absorbed, and temperamental. A lot of people say the fours are the drama. The five is the investigator, intense and cerebral, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. These are all like extreme kind of definitions. Just so you know, the six, the questioner, is committed and security oriented, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. This is very exciting, isn't it? The seven is the enthusiast. They're busy and fun loving, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. They're kind of the Tiggers of the Enneagram, and they're also kind of the ADD of the Enneagram. Then eight is the leader, powerful and dominating, self confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. They're the ones on the Enneagram that have no problem with confrontation. And then that doesn't mean they like confrontation, they have no problem doing it. And then the nine, the peacemaker, easygoing, self effacing, receptive, reassuring, and agreeable and complacent. And so then each one of those numbers has their motivation. Remember, I said that each number has a motivation that kind of drives all the decisions they make in their life. And the one is they want to be a good person. The two, the helper, is that they want to be loved and they want to be needed. The 3, they want to be successful, seen as successful. The 4, they are really driven at being authentic and unique, authentic and unique. The 5 is they want to gather all the information that they can. The more information they can, the more safe they feel. The 6 is very fear driven. They're the fear-based one in the Enneagram. And so safety is their main concern about everything. They're the ones that walk in and see all the exits. They have like everything they need in their car in case they break down. Those are the 6.
They have the disaster plan for
They're the
everything.
disaster plan. Yes. When the pandemic happened, they were like, I knew it and I'm ready.
This is my pandemic website. Boom. I already bought the hand sanitizer. Suckers.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've got toilet paper. So much toilet paper already. The 7s are like
Check out my bomb
Tiggers.
shelter.
And then the 7s, they are really, they just don't want to be in any type of emotional pain. So they're constantly moving toward experiences. The 8, they are very much don't want to be seen as weak, and so or vulnerable, and so they're constantly having this kind of persona of being strong, which they are. They're very strong, and they believe that they have control of their world. And then the 9, the peacemaker, they're completely against confrontation, and they want to keep everything peaceful in their life. They don't like big waves, good or bad. They want to keep everything harmonious. And because of that, they are really adverse to confrontation. And that is the speed round of the Enneagram. And it's 11-11.
And there will be
share.
Awesome. There will be no quizzes at the end, but I will say
No
my
quizzes
daughter
at the end.
my daughter who is a 9, she will say, I'll be like, hey, Barbara, what do you want for dinner? And she'll say whatever anybody else wants. And then I say, too bad, you have to have an opinion. And then
they go,
yeah. No, but one day she gave me a thank you note. She's like, thank you for taking my ideas into consideration. And that was big.
Oh,
yeah. She's on the healthy.
sweet.
She's in the healthy, like
Yes,
ranges of the Niners.
Yes.
So
okay. So
all right. So we are gonna have people on, and everyone's gonna kind of introduce themselves.
I'll guide you all through it. Don't worry. I'll guide you through.
Yeah, and I'm just here for color commentary and all that kind of stuff. All right, here we go. Woohoo! We're going Brady-Bunch style. Boom, boom,
boom, boom, boom.
Okay,
I love it. Hello, everybody. Everybody, wave. Hello, lovely ladies. Okay, so I'm going to go around to each person first. If you know your number, say it, and your name, even though we can read it, but say who you are, your Enneagram number if you know it, and how you're taking care of yourself today. So let's start with Jackie. Miss Jackie, introduce yourself.
I'm Jacque Woods. I am a 2 on the Enneagram scale. I'm also married to a 6, so I can talk about what that's like, because there are definitely things we have to work out together.
Some challenges.
There
as well as things that you complement with each other.
Yes,
as well.
Yes, definitely. And how am I taking care of myself today? Besides this, I'm going to stay quiet today because I was at the Avalanche games last night, so my voice is kind of scratchy.
I forgot about that. I should have warned you. No yelling.
And I was yelling quite a bit.
I bet you were, because there was yelling at our house as well. And the cat was like, I hate it. Okay. All right. So next we have Marla. Marla, are you there? No.
Issues with Marla.
We were trying to fix it earlier. Okay. So Marla, if you don't mind, I will say Marla, Marla is not sure what her number is, correct? Okay. And so I'm going to come back to you in a moment. And so how you're taking care of yourself today, give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug.
And Marla, if you want, you can put it in our internal chat, and I can also introduce you and let people know how you're taking care of yourself today.
Yes. So, because you know Marla better, is there something you would like to say that you love about Marla?
I love so many things about Marla. She's been going on her own personal, fierce, badass internal journey to find her inner happy and inner glow. And in the pandemic, she started the pandemic by kind of just saying, you know, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And then she was like, you know what, I'm going to be an event planner. And then beginning of the pandemic, that was like, oh. And then before you know it, she was pivoting again courageously into so she's an animal lover, hardcore. And
Nice.
she makes these fabulous local treats for cats and dogs. And she also does some other toysies kind of things. And so she is working on just getting her word out. And she's been on like our local news and all sorts of great stuff. So she's been on like a really courageous internal and professional journey at the same time. I can't imagine how much sleep I would need if I was in your shoes, Marla, to recuperate like 18 hours a day or something. But you seem to have energy for miles. So
Excellent.
So Marla says she's been taking care of herself with music, time with her pets, podcasts, and yoga.
I love that.
You got to let us know what your favorite pod is, Marla, when you get a chance.
All right. And then I think next, is Kelly. Kelly,
Hello.
Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, so my name is Kelly Skinner, and I am the driving force behind Soul Care. And we are, it was Soul Care Urban Retreat Center, but right now I don't have a specific urban retreat center space because I'm in a period of transition. But basically, Soul Care is all about helping people find tools and resources and community around spiritual wellness and self-care and living authentically.
Nice. I love that.
So I am an Enneagram 8, and most of the time I try to be a healthy Enneagram 8. And what am I doing to take care of myself today? I had a counseling appointment this morning. So that is a lot of really good self-care for me.
That is an excellent, very healthy Enneagram 8 thing to do. Not many 8s will do that.
And I am surrounding myself with amazing people and women today through this call, and I have 2 other calls this afternoon. And so I'm just surrounding myself with people who just bring light and love into the world.
Excellent. I love that. And for those of you who are like, why would you say that about an 8 going to counseling? Because, and I went all through it very quickly, so I'll say the 8 is afraid of being vulnerable and showing weakness, and going to a counseling session is pretty much the ultimate vulnerability. And so I think that is excellent. Well done.
Thank you very much. And we have incredible strength in our vulnerability when we can allow it. Yes, we do.
That is the biggest thing for 8s to learn, is that there is strength in vulnerability, and it's through all of vulnerability that we really learn to connect to people and find trust with other people is through that vulnerability. So nice. I love that. Could you come talk to my husband later?
I would be happy to. I'll pound some sense into him.
I feel like you could see eye to eye with him.
Yes, he is an 8, and he's a healthy 8, but counseling is not in his
wheelhouse yet.
No. No. So I'm pretty much his counseling.
Yes. Okay. And I do have to say my spouse is a 1. So I understand that strong force of will.
Yes.
With your partner.
My best friend and her husband is an 8-1 combo. So that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least at all is Laurie. So Laurie, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laurie Herbers. I am a relationship and spiritual love coach. Just messed that up. I am a 1, so I don't even care about perfectionism anymore. Messed it up, whatever. Broke out of that box. Yeah, this is new to me. I have a friend that does this, and it's hilarious to watch her. She even does the Marvel characters by their number.
Oh, how fun, Jackie. We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah. But self-care, I have been super busy, so I've had to be very purposeful about giving myself a day off and just hanging out here with my cats, one on each side because they can't be by each other. Yeah.
So you're an Enneagram 1.
Mhm.
Yes. And so what I heard you just say is that you have to make sure you take time off. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just keep on going. I'll burn myself out.
Yep. Because the list never ends, does it?
No.
No, the to-do list. Ones are famous for their to-do lists and marking those lists off. And it's very difficult to, talk about it's time to go to bed at night and your list isn't done.
Oh, I'll go to bed. No,
You'll
I've
go
already
to-
broke that box. I ripped my box
Nice.
all up.
So in your 20s, was that different?
Honestly, in my 20s, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't care. I've always been flying by the seat of my pants kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But then that has to go back to abuse in childhood, that I was stuck in a box for so long. That was forced upon me. It wasn't my box. That I just was, because I was totally stupid. So I never allowed myself to even plan or make a list because I wasn't smart enough to have a list.
Right.
I wasn't going anywhere anyway. So I just, I just winged it every day.
Do you feel like all the layers of like your childhood kind of just like masked up your Enneagramminess?
I think, yes. I think it just, the perfectionism piece was basically flipped into a need for someone to love me. So I tried to be that good girl so maybe if I was perfect,
yes,
I would get love.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If you were good and you were perfect, then people would love you. That's 100% the definition of a 1. Yep. Because we're all looking for love and security. It's how we think that we're achieving that is the motivation that defines each of the numbers. So, so if I'm a 9, I haven't said that yet. I'm a 9 on the Enneagram. And so in order for myself to feel loved and safe, I pretty much try to make myself invisible and let everybody else do their thing and have their show, and so that's what 9s do to feel safe. And it's our big goal to say my presence matters and stand up and go and shine our light. That's our big goal. So if you are watching and you know your Enneagram number, we would love to have you put that in the comments. So that would be so fun. Okay.
And even if you don't want it, don't know your Enneagram number, we'll have some resources for you.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
So I think we should try to see if Marla's microphone is happening or what. I'm going to try to unmute her and see. Marla, are you talking or registering? Oh, she says she doesn't hear anything.
Oh no, that's even worse.
All right. So I will work on her on that with her.
Okay.
Right now. So I'm going to.
So we have 2 1s. No, that's not true. We have a 1, we have a 2, we have an 8, and then we have Heidi who's a 2, and then we have me who's a 9. Okay. So my first thing I want to say, does anybody and then we have a husband who's a 6, 8. Does anybody else know what their partners or best friends or anybody? That's right. You said you're was it a husband? I didn't want to assume. Is a 1?
Yes, my husband is a 1.
You has 1. Okay. Okay, cool. So Jackie, you mentioned that your husband is a 6, and the 6 is the fear-based one. Security is their main concern. Also, 6s are known for their need to make decisions based on the greater good. community and the safety of the community is really important to them, because with community comes safety
Mhm.
as well. And then you're a 2, which means that you really love people. You enjoy helping people. So that I'm just going to throw this out there, and I'm going to let you take it over. Having the 2 and the 6 together, you both really work well with that, because you're both concerned about other people and their well-being.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. So take it from there. What else goes on with the 2 and the 6?
I think that really manifests for us is that we have helped our friends when they've needed help. So we had one friend who was kind of lost in his life, was almost homeless. So we had him come live with us for about 6 months. So we like to help out our friends as much as we can, and that helps my need of helping a person, helping people. It helps build strength and community, which he is very big about. He is always out there hustling and trying to make friends with everybody, just to bring that community into the spaces we're at a lot. Where it becomes a problem is he can also be indecisive in what's trying to find what's best for the community.
Yes, because remember, 6s are fear-based, and they're doubting. So they're always doubting themselves, and they're doubting others. And so it's difficult to make a decision. In fact, in one podcast, they asked a 6, what do you trust? And they said, I trust my doubt.
And I would say he would agree with that. That something as simple as, our family is our community. So it's just he and I, but it's a community in and of itself. Just something as simple as buying a DVD player or a Blu-ray. He spent 6 hours one time trying to decide what Blu-ray player he wanted. And any big purchase he makes, car, house, he is very indecisive about it for weeks. Whether he's doing the right thing, will it be good for us? And I usually have to step in and say, it's okay. We're gonna let me help you. And that's where my 2 comes in. Let me help you make this decision. Let's list the pros and cons. Let's see what's right for us, what helps both our needs. He can be a little batty sometimes, but
Yeah.
And he is, you also add in the for him, he's very cut and dry. He's has a lot of morals. Last night I had to yell at him because he was angry that the refs weren't calling penalties at the Avs game. And he was like, they should lose their job for that. He was like, did he not see that guy had his knee on his neck? He should be punished and lose his job for that. And
Yes.
I'm like, it's okay, dear. We'll just come on. Let's move on. You got to let it go.
Right. That he was just like focused on that as opposed to the game in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I can see that. So,
but for me, he is also very good though about seeing and dealing with my 2-ness. He is also because I'll have an issue where I'll be like, whatever you want to do, we'll just do what you want to do. And he'll stop and he'll say, Jackie, what do you want to do now? I don't care what I want to do. It's what you want to do now. If you want to go play a game, we're going to go play a game. So he's very good at that.
That is very good. And that's very helpful for you. Yes. So we have Miss Rachel watching, and she said that she is strongly identifying as a 2, although sometimes she wonders if she could be a 4 or a 1. Yes. So let's talk about that a little bit with Laurie. Laurie's a 4 or 1. You're a 1. Yes. Have you ever thought you might be a 4? Ones and fours, they share a line and they kind of go back and forth. Have you
So
ever
there's this
wondered,
connection. This goes back to that, like
right, the
that
diagram?
diamond where
Mhm.
all of the numbers are on lines with other ones. They have the
Right.
same latitude or longitude kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And so what that means is, and Laurie, I'm put you on hold for just a minute because I'm coming back to you. So when your number connects with a line to other numbers, you have a connection with them. But what that means is that one of those numbers is you pull qualities from that number when you're in a stressful place in your life, and the other number you pull qualities from when you feel kind of like you're in a safe place and you're ready to express something different. So when I'm a 9, so when I am in a stressful position, I start pulling qualities from the 6, and the 6, they're doers because, well, there's a community that they have to be, a part
Responsible
of and
for.
everything. Yes. And so they're kind of go. And so that gets me moving into action. And as opposed to wanting to just fall asleep on the couch, which is what 9s would usually do. And then when I'm feeling safe in a safe place, I take qualities from the 3, which is the entrepreneur. And if there's any number on the Enneagram that says, look at me and how awesome I am, it's the 3. And so I start to be able to say, you know what, it's okay for me to be out there in the world and show my strengths and be a part of this world. So that's what those numbers mean. So for the
what are
1,
those for? Yeah, what are those for the 1? Yeah.
for the 1, they the 1 when the 1 is kind of stressed, they start pulling qualities from the 4. Laurie, would you like to talk about that a little bit? It sounded like you have some Enneagram experience going on. So
I don't. I have no clue.
okay. Well, let me
So like
share.
when you get stressed, do you kind of just like what is your what was like your initial reaction like a while ago, or like what is your initial reaction now, like when you start to get really stressed?
Well, one thing what I've noticed about myself is if I am about to do something I really don't want to do, I don't know if that's necessarily a stress thing, but I get really angry and agitated.
Yes.
Like I start to get really cranky.
Mhm.
But on the reverse end, now that I've realized that I do that, I will stop myself and say, okay, what about this is making me get agitated?
Nice.
Why is this bugging me? So
Mhm.
that I can get in there and be like, oh, okay. And then I'm not so agitated anymore.
Right.
Because I didn't know, I would just get mean.
Right.
Yeah, because you would do it and you would just be angry about it.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
kind of okay?
Yeah.
Because ones are part of that anger is part of, it's kind of their first go-to emotion, but you don't like it because, well, anger doesn't really make you a good person, right? Quote
It
unquote.
doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and so it kind of
Not
goes
in the
into
love joy area.
No, it's not.
Right.
That love bubble.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes into resentment, but also ones kind of will put emotions to some degree at bay because they got stuff to do, and there's a control thing going on so that you can stay a good person. So the 4, when you go to the 4, you start feeling what's really going on inside, not what you should be doing or what you should be feeling, but what you really are feeling. And that's what I'm hearing you say, that you've become more healthy and you're like, okay, I'm angry. That is my sign to go to my 4. Even though you're not saying this is subconsciously what's happening, and find out what's really going on. What am I really feeling? Why am I really resisting this? And then ask yourself. I wrote an article about this. Resistance is futile because you're resisting. You need to find out why. Is my resistance a real thing? Like that's a bad thing for me to do? Or is your resistance because you're afraid or whatever that is? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's excellent. So does that make sense then about going to the 4 and being able to
If you like
feel?
go there and like feel all the things instead of resistance is futile, like Borg style, which would be like to not feel anything, right?
Yes.
If you're Trekkie,
Which I
feeling me
used
out
to
here.
do because I didn't want to feel it. I
And
didn't
instead,
wanna.
you open that door to the 4, and you're like, "Let me feel like the cascade of all the feelings before I give them to other people accidentally
Right.
Exactly.
or intentionally and then regret it or something.
So
Yeah, it might have
then-
been intentional and then feel bad later. I mean, no, I didn't do
We
that.
all been there.
Yeah. And then the one, when they're feeling safe, they go to the 7 and they let go and say, it's okay to not worry about these things and just have some fun. And so from what I've heard from ones, the biggest time they do that is when they're away from home and on vacation, because all those responsibilities of home are out of the picture and they can just relax and kind of go a little wild and have fun. Does
So
that relate
physically
at all?
closing the door to the responsibilities.
Responsibilities,
Open
yeah.
up the
Well,
open up the fun.
I don't have to leave my house. I never go anywhere hardly. But I don't know, it's probably been a good decade ago when I started my journaling journey.
Mhm.
I created a safe space that I go to that's in my head. So I can go there anytime I want to.
Nice.
Which I
think
do.
It's right behind. It's also there's a picture behind you.
Oh, my beach.
That is also a lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, I painted that.
So
That's nice.
yeah.
That's in my safe space. Like my safe space
Yeah.
started out as just a garden, and now there's like a bench I sit on with Jesus, and there's a beach that he took me to one day. There's a trail. I mean, like it's huge.
That's awesome.
Up there. And
Mhm.
I
so
love that.
I
That's a
encourage people-
vacation every time.
Yes, I encourage people to have that safe space in their head, because then you can go there anytime you want to.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter where you are. If you're at work, you can go pop into the bathroom and be like, okay, I'm in my safe space.
I love that.
Pull it back together.
So continuing on with the lines, since we have 2s and 8s here, let's talk about the line between the 2 and the 8. So I would like to go to Kelly, because Kelly, your safe space is the 2. And that's where you learn to be vulnerable, as you've talked about. You learn to express your feelings, because 2s are all about feelings, as are 4s. So maybe talk about what it was like before you really started learning that, and then what it's like now that you've learned to embrace your 2-ness.
So certainly, so one of the analogies that I like to use a lot is that when I have an intensity of feelings, and when I wasn't acknowledging or understanding that intensity of feelings, it would be expressed as a tidal wave. And now I'm
A tidal wave of anger.
a tidal wave of anger, or a tidal wave of sadness, or just a tidal wave of intensity that would just break things.
Right.
And now I realize that I'm more of a deep ocean than a tidal wave.
Okay.
And so I still have a lot of emotions, but I can access those emotions and see what it is that they're telling me, see what's lighting me up, and use those emotions then to access my intuition.
Nice.
And my knowingness is what I call it.
And 8s also have huge gut knowing. Like their guts tell them where to go, what to do, what to say. It's pretty intense from what I understand. Is that true?
So does that, do you access that like immediately?
So I think I haven't done too much with the wings, but I think I might be an 8 with a 9 wing.
Okay.
So in a lot of ways for me, I had actually, that intensity actually separated me from a lot of people. So it was like this self-fulfilling prophecy of that sense of like being controlled and then having so much power that you don't have to be controlled anymore. But with that power came a huge like shield and a huge like barrier fortress. And so I wasn't you can't just selectively block things off. So by blocking that off, I had blocked off my own access to my knowingness. And there was a period in my life that I called it blank screen syndrome. So like I knew what I wanted, and like I could talk it when asked or not asked, because I have lots of opinions.
Yes.
you know, I used to think that I wanted to run the world. Now I don't feel like I need to do that anymore. But
That's
Yes.
probably huge.
I have all the solutions to everybody's problems.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to be able to kind of like, as I broke open that vulnerability, I was able to access my own knowingness so much more. And so it
Nice.
was like that, building that trust in myself, and accessing it more completely. It's like completing the circuit. Because in unhealth, 8s go to 5s. So a lot of times it was very intellectualizing. And, you know, I talk about walking through life as a floating head, because I know I have a lot of head knowledge, but it's taken me some work to kind of embody that head knowledge and be more complete and authentic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've heard 1/5 or 1/8, a very, very healthy 8, say that they know that the benefit to them of going to the 5 is when they're under stress, they go to the 5 and they're able to detach from the emotions and the preconceived things and analyze the situation. And from that distance and analyzing, they're able to say, oh, that's what I did wrong here.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
and then they can go back out and say, okay, this is what I contributed to this situation. Let's discuss it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Which
still
is
very
huge.
much like, I'm also a highly sensitive person. So, I mean, I have a lot of that really big, intense emotions. And it's just a question of how do you modulate that? How do you regulate that? And how do you kind of use your, you know, you can use your intellect as a tool to move into analysis. So it helps modulate those emotions. But one of the, you mentioned when you hear about, your number and you have that, oh, not me.
Yes.
So when I've heard about 8s, I was like, oh no, not me. But as I was doing a lot of self-reflection, my, 15, when I was in my early 30s, my spouse passed away from cancer, and he had a brain tumor. And one of my unhealthy things was that I was going to intensely, intellectually solve his cancer through the sheer force of my will and intellect. And that's kind of what clued into me that I was an 8.
Yeah. 8s really believe they have control over their world.
Over everything. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was telling my husband about an interview I heard and all the things, the neat things this guy did that I had no idea about. And that the guy asked him something and the interviewee said, oh, I don't have control over anything. I have control over my response to those things, but I don't have control over everything. And my husband was kind of quiet. I was like, what are you thinking? He goes, I'm thinking bullshit. And I said, what, that he owns fire trucks? Like what? And he's like, no, you have control over your world. And I'm like, oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah, I have to catch myself
Senior
sometimes
8.
when people are telling me, like when my husband is telling me about things that are going on in his world. And I'm like, I just instinctually jump in and solve problems that aren't even mine, that don't even affect me. It just, I immediately go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a really strong heart for justice too. So I think that's where my 2-ness goes.
No, 8s have a huge thing for justice. They get really mad at injustice and hypocrisy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And I can see and call hypocrisy like miles and miles away.
Oh, yes.
But going to that, like accessing the 2-ness and accessing that, community and that service mentality to others. And really, like, I used to kind of deal with justice again as a problem to solve. And now I kind of see it more about bringing my talents and skills to be with others and finding communal solutions, and that, like, I don't have to be the one that solves all the problems.
Yeah. I love that. I love
I love
that.
that. It seems like such a paradox to have like there's the 8, but then you get stressed out and then you're like, I'm going to intellectualize and solve this problem. But then you're like, I'm feeling lovely. And then you like go into the deep ocean of like community
Yeah.
and feelings. And it's like, how many people can you be at one time?
I can be lots of people at one
Yeah.
time.
Right.
I feel like I got my astrological chart read, speaking of other lenses, and I was like, oh, I guess there's probably at least 3 people in me. I know I have a person for every day of my life. So I was like, well, you can just join the community
Mhm.
of me's.
Mhm. But
So,
that's, I mean, you were talking about the Enneagram and saying like, I think one of the lovely things about Enneagram is that it helps you. I mean, there is each of us is all of the numbers. Like you dominantly express one of the numbers, but you really are tapping in healthiness and in living in your highest authenticity. You are tapping into all
Yes.
of the numbers completely. So yeah, we are nine pieces.
Yes,
I
and they
love
say that when you take Enneagram theory into Christianity, and Christianity has really embraced the Enneagram, they believe that center is God, Jesus, all of it,
Mhm.
and that when you learn to embrace all 9 numbers, then you find that Jesus
Your
within you,
godness
that God
inside
within
you.
you. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
You're able to express all of it.
Mhm.
So I want to now reverse that and talk to the 2s about when you go to the 8, when you are feeling unhealthy, or when you're not, I don't want to say feeling unhealthy. I don't like that term, but
You mean
when you're
challenged
stressed out,
When I'm
when you're
stressed out.
challenged. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's when I turn very confrontational. And I'm like, there are people who know me know when I'm stressed and I'm heading towards that. If you come up to me and say, hey Jackie, how's your day? They'll stand behind me and go, no, don't ask her because she's and so that's something I have to watch. But yeah, I can go to that fighting stance is what Bill calls it. So
The fighting stance. I love that.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then I have to kind of learn to back off of that, kind of look at what's stressing me out, and just kind of sit and try to work through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see it. You can almost see me like relax, because if I'm in that mood of being stressed out and confrontational, you can tell my shoulders come up and I kind of crunch.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I start to
close up,
kind of
yeah.
move away from that, then I start to relax and more pleasant to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the goal is to, like, Suzanne Stabile talks about, when you go into that stress, learning to be to the high side of the 8 when you get there, and to maybe not have that stress with it, but still have that force behind it. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm still learning and trying to
It's
process,
hard.
because it is really hard, because
Uh-huh.
I am such a 2. I'm always a helper. I'm always mom. People will come to me, ask me advice. And that because of that, I don't normally take care of myself.
Mhm.
So I can go from being mom to being, the fighter. And so I have to really work on kind of getting away from that.
Yeah. Or learning to recognize when you're going there,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
breathing, and
Yes.
setting up those boundaries.
Yes. And setting up those boundaries, and also telling people what's making me so angry, expressing it, because I can go, like I said, if I get that fight in me, then I bring up everything that's happened in the last month, that I haven't ever said about, because I haven't expressed what my needs are, because I'm too busy taking care of
Right.
everybody else's needs.
They say 2s are the biggest. We're the longest standing grudge holders.
They
Yeah.
call
We're like
this,
the win. We're like the heavyweight grudge holder champions.
they call it chaining.
And it is, I am known in my family for that because, for example, my uncle, he was supposed to come visit one time and he totally blew us off to go do something else. And he called my father and he said, I didn't go see Jackie. And my father said, oh no. My father said, you're going to be paying for that one for a long time. So
Yeah.
yes, we can be grudge holders too. So,
which I think is different from the 8, because in my experience with the 8s that I know, which is more than just my husband, that when someone has pushed you that far, you're like, you're dead to me. Like there's no grudge, there's no emotion put into it. It's just done, you know?
Yeah. I've never had that experience.
No?
My spouse, who is a 1, has certainly had that experience. I think,
Laurie's nodding.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
just
to
done.
me,
Yeah, we're done.
there's there's that connection with the 2 that I always relationships are still pretty important.
Yeah.
So I might not push somebody else out of my life, but I might armor up more against them.
Yeah.
So,
and I've also heard that 8s have a more like their inner circle, the ones that they really
small.
trust. Yeah, it's pretty small. And yeah, you wouldn't push those people out. You wouldn't do that to them.
No.
But maybe people outside of that circle, meh. While 2s have a giant circle of people that are important to them.
Yeah. And I can give the cold shoulder pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our watchers, Rachel said, Rachel said she's strongly identifying with the type 2, and she said her partner is an 8. So when she gets stressed, he meets his match.
He meets his match. Yep, her energy meets his, and they switch.
Right
yeah,
the 8 zone.
Yeah, to which I understand. Sometimes 8s kind of smile at like, yeah. You know,
yeah, bring it.
Let's
bring
it.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that's something I've had to learn to do with my husband, that sometimes I have to bring my energy up to meet his, for him to really hear me sometimes. And, and that's good practice for me because, otherwise I would not. I think I have a stronger 8 wing.
Yeah. And I go like from 0 to 60 really fast too.
Yeah.
So you can just turn the switch on. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I think what we can do now is Marla, we think we have audio on Marla, but we don't have video. So she's going to be there hopefully, and we can have a little chat with her. And then after this, we're going to talk a little bit more about where to get more resources. And you each I'm going to pick you all out an Enneagram affirmation. All right, Marla, can you say something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yay! I love your voice, Marla. I love it.
The circle talk.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Marla, what number do you think you are? Or you're not sure?
I did take this a few years ago, before COVID, when I went to a workshop, the women's workshop at Allerton. And I was in between 2 different ones. I want to say helper was one of them. And then I can't really remember the other one. Maybe like loyalist or something.
6. Okay. So Heidi said you took the test and the top numbers you came up with were 2, 4, and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what's interesting is that let's see. So the 2 and the 4 are connected by a number, and then the 6 is I don't want to say passive aggressive. There's another number there or another word there that says that. So the 2 and the 6 are related in that. And then one number that kind of connects all of those really is the 1, because the 1 and the 2 are next to each other. The 1 and the 4 are connected, and 1 and 6 is often look like each other. So my first question is, as we've been talking about the 1, I don't know if you've been able to hear the idea of wanting to be a good person being the most important thing in your life. Does that resonate with you at all?
Does that give you spidey sense?
I think that for me, it's more, I just want to do everything for everybody else, make sure everybody else is comfortable all the time.
Okay.
I don't like conflict, but then at the same time, as I've gotten older, I have a short fuse for tolerance, for injustice, like you were talking about earlier. I'm not sure which number that was, but it just, I take everything to heart. I wear it all out. There's not a, how are you feeling, Marla? Because my eyes, my body expression, everything shows exactly how I'm feeling all the time. I've never been one that's been able to hide that. But I also feel like when I'm around people, especially ones that I don't know, that I'm not, comfortable with yet, I feel like I have to be on. And
Okay.
it's strange because I started using that term before I really knew what that meant, to be on, to try and be cheerful all the time and happy and what everybody else wants you to be. Because, nobody wants the Debbie Downer. Nobody wants the,
Well,
nobody wants to really know how you are. They just
Yeah.
want you to say, great. And then let's move on, so.
Right. That all sounds very, 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 very 2.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds very 2.
We
Exactly.
have an overwhelming amount of 2s on this call.
Yes, we do. But I was joking earlier in my yoga class this morning. I said, I can't go too late today because I have this thing afterwards. And they said, oh, yeah. And they asked, and who's on it? And I said, well, we've got lots of 2s because 2s want to be involved. 2s,
We want
2s,
all like, I
Yeah,
mean, you got the host. I'm a 2W3. So I'm like, I'm the host and I'm the one, of course. I put that question in, how are you taking care of yourself today? There couldn't be a more 2 question out there, I think.
Yes. And 2s, they want to be part of what's going on, and they love people, and they love things like this, and finding out what other people are and investigating themselves and relationships, because this is all about relationships, which is why we've been talking about our relationships with other people. And it's 2 heaven. Suzanne Stabile, who's my favorite teacher, she's a 2 on the Enneagram. And I love her because she's been studying it for years, but because she's a 2, I think when she's been talking to other people and asking them their number and learning about them, she's a 2, so she can tune in and really start to understand how that person feels, what makes them tick. That's a 2 superpower, is that they can read other people and know what they need. So,
when we look at them.
That definitely associates with me. I mean, I can see a friend when I used to be teaching, and I would just pass them in the hallway, and I would be like, something's up with them today. I need to check in with them.
Yeah.
Make sure they're all right. Or if a friend is explaining something and crying about it, it's like the tears just automatically come. If I'm around people that are, really confident and happy with themselves and in a good place, it immediately brings me up. It's just, I really reflect off of everything that's going on in the world with people. I've always loved psychology because I think it's just fascinating to see how the brain works and how it connects to just everything.
So I know this child that I believe is a 2, and his teacher calls him the child whisperer. He's like, I think 11. And he can just tell when one of his classmates is having a bad day, and he'll go over and talk to them and kind of just cheer them up or just be their friend for the day. And when I asked the mom, well, who are his best friends? She said, he doesn't really have best friends. He's friends with everybody in the class. And I was like, oh gosh. That child is a 2, a budding 2.
So that
But I
2
think it's so
child,
sweet.
go ahead. I was going to say that 2 child grows up and turns into someone like whenever I go into any social situation whatsoever, I always scan to see if anyone looks uncomfortable, and then I go talk to them.
And do you do this consciously or subconsciously?
I used to do this subconsciously, but now I'm just like, when I look in a room, I was like, who can I just chat with and connect with and see if they need anything. It could be because I'm a 2W3 and I'm like, I'm always a hostess, even if I'm not hosting. And so I like to take care of everybody. So I used to also put all my stuffed animals to bed every night. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Heidi, I did the same. All the stuffed animals. And then when my parents said, you can either share your canopy bed with your younger sister, and we'll keep it, or you guys are going to get twin beds, but you're going to have to find a new spot for your animals to go. And I was like, well, guess we're going to have to do twin beds because the animals aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that.
Great. All right. Well, I think it's time. I've absolutely adored this discussion. And I think it's time to do some Enneagram affirmations. So I will, I downloaded a resource from the website that has a bunch of different. So I'm going to have you each pick a number between 1 and something. And then I will go to that. So Laurie, we're going to start with you. Pick a number between 1 and 78.
7.
7. All right. That's a type 9. Whoops. There we go. 7 is my needs are important. That is your affirmation. All right, Kelly, pick a number between 1 and 89.
48.
48. 48 is I trust the process of life. Love that. All right.
I'm going to say that to my husband and see what happens. Do you trust the process?
I want to know what he says.
All right. So, Jackie, pick a number between 1 and 112.
Oh,
I know there's a lot for this one.
92.
Oh, 92. Let's scroll all the way down here. Oh, I feel like this is applicable. I pay attention to my own needs.
That is very applicable.
And Rachel, if you're still there, you pick a number as well, and we'll give you an affirmation for being a 2.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
All
then
right,
just put it in the
Marla.
chat.
Yeah, Marla. A number between 1 and
19.
19. Okay. Is I give without unspoken expectations. I feel like that really describes like my childhood. My mom took this test and she came up as a 2. She's like, I'm not a 2, I'm a 1, because she's like a perfectionist. So she wants to be a 1.
Hello, Facebook user. We are still live, just so you know. We are here.
Yes. And if you know what your number is, we'll give you an affirmation.
Yes,
all right.
put in your
all
number.
right.
Rachel said 28, number 28.
Oh, 28. All right. Rachel, your affirmation is my happiness does not depend on pleasing others. That's solid. That is a solid one.
And then
all right.
our
Facebook user.
Facebook user is an Enneagram 1. So pick a number between 1 and 100?
1 and 78.
Oh, 1 and 78.
For a 1. Mm-hmm.
Pick a number to 1 and 78, and we'll give you an affirmation for being an Enneagram 1. In the meantime, 3. Okay.
All right. 3. I accept that many truths lead to the universal truth. Oh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one because ones have a hard time with the idea that the world is gray. It's very black and white, right and wrong, and that there can be
more than one right answer.
Yes, more than one right answer, more than one way to do something.
So I'm going to give that to my husband and see what he has to say.
Do you want me to pick
gonna
one
like it.
for him? Do you want to pick one for him? Your husband? No. Okay.
I was gonna say
All
he
right,
ain't gonna like that one. He ain't gonna like it.
All right, I'm gonna pick one. So between 1 and 112, I'm gonna just say 55. Sounds like a nice roundy number to me. Oh, the better I feel about myself, the better I feel about others.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
That is
I would say that would be true for all of us. But yes, especially a 2. Yes.
Yes.
That is one
and-
truth that leads to the universal truth. Just throw
Yes.
that out there.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, we'll put them in there. All right. So,
Do I get
Thank-
one?
oh yes. Thank you.
It's
Thank you
because
for
I'm a
speaking
9
up.
and I'm just going to quietly speak up and say me too.
Okay. Well, between 1 and 87.
Let's do 87.
Going for the end. I embrace change.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
A small yet powerful.
Can you
Right
take
there.
Heidi's? Yes, you can take Heidi's affirmation if you want it.
Absolutely. If it spoke to you, then just go for
Yes.
it. Go for
Great.
it for sure. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for being on. We're gonna go back to just Heather and I, and we're just gonna do a quick wrap up on how to get more information. Jackie, Kelly, Laurie, and Marla, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you
For
so
joining
much
us
for being here.
today.
You've made it so
Yeah.
fun.
This
I've
has
loved
been
it.
fun.
You are
Good.
Brady-Bunch guinea pigs, and I appreciate each and every one of you and your smiles and showing up today.
And I appreciate all the people who came on and listened and participated in the comments.
Yay.
And if you're watching afterwards, please comment. We'd love to read them after. So,
Yeah.
and
All
so
right,
for
Heather. Yes.
yes, those of you who are interested in learning more, there is a link up above for a free 30-minute coaching session. One-on-one coaching session. You're welcome to sign up for that. I would love to talk to you. And after that, or if you just want to jump right in, there are hour sessions. I did not put the link to that. I can put the link to that.
Yes,
Our
the
one-on-one
the
sessions.
classes, yeah, and the coaching. Mhm.
Yes. And then I also have an Enneagram class every Monday night at 6:30 Mountain Time. And it's a $10 drop-in. Jackie is often there. And Rachel, who was commenting, she is often there. Right now, we're going through Suzanne Stubiel's book, The Path Between Us, which is about relationships. But you are welcome to jump in at any time. We would love to have you. And that link is in there as well. And I will, it's
Yeah,
over here. It's
Yeah,
over
we'll
here,
get all the
86.
we'll get all the links to the book and the classes and coaching and everything in there.
Yes.
Make sure.
So anyway,
sure.
and that's it. And I love talking about the Enneagram. And so if you are interested in it all, I will talk your ear off. So
Yes, Heather, thanks so much for indulging my curiosity today and making it happen. And if you are watching this and you want a brief overview and a little quiz about what your Enneagram number is, you can just Facebook DM us or put below, send me the quiz, and I can send you a link to download that within the next week or so.
Mhm.
So
Great. Thank you,
all
Heidi.
right. Oh, you're welcome, Heather. And our next show, we're going to be doing an Independence Day celebration.
Yes.
Woo.
We'll be talking about how important it is to stand in your power and be independent.
How hard, awesome it is. How
Hard, awesome it is. That's true.
Yeah.
How worth it is to find that place and to be a soul within yourself, living your purpose, your power, and shining your light. How's that?
Amen. Yeah.
And with that comes joy, which Heidi, would you like to talk about your peel your onion real quick?
Yeah. So my peel your onion, the doors are closing actually today. So if you're watching this June 1st, my first round of peeling your onion is it's an experience that kind of gets you to peel through all those different layers of how you relate to like your work or all the different relationship layers and all that kind of stuff to start to build a resilient mindset, figure out what those pesky feelings are telling you, and really dive into taking brave steps forward. So,
And it's how many
being
weeks?
able to stand in your own power. So it's 4 weeks, 1 hour each. That is the first round, and the second round will be coming in late August, early September.
Yes. And Heidi's awesome, and it will be a wonderful journey. So if you want to peel some of your layers off and come down to your authentic joy, that is your first step.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a multi-tool that I will give you that you can use and, whip out, sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you just need the toothpick. You just never know. And it gives you some really good life tools to kind of navigate and discover more of your awesome self.
All right.
And we'll put the link to the peeling your onion information also in there. So I think that's it for us. Thank you so much, Heather. Thanks to all of our guests.
Thank
for
you to
indulging
everybody.
us.
Thank you for being open and sharing. And it's really an honor. So thank you.
All right. Until next time, sending you happiness, joy, and freedom.
Yes.
Woo!